Hello guys, it's me Jamie. Welcome back to another video. So today's video, as you can tell by the title, is pretty simple. It's just books on my shelves that I think I will rate 5 stars. Like, I think these books just sound so good. It's really surprising why I haven't read them yet. So this is basically just like a big TBR of books that I think are going to be incredible, and I'm still trying to decide if I should just like read them all at once or I should like save them and like read them over a series of time, so I'm just like constantly got a good book to look forward to. So I have 8 books here, so I thought why not just get started. So the first book I have on my 5-star predictions list is a book that I actually bought a couple of years ago, and I have heard kind of mixed things about it, but it just seems like it's right up my alley, and that is The Magicians by Liv Grossman. This is basically a dark academia about a guy who goes to like this elite academy but for magicians, essentially. The synopsis says it's about a guy called Quentin who shows up for his interview at Princeton but finds that his interviewer is dead, and instead there is an envelope with his name on it, and it takes him down a path that he had never ever expected. It's very much been described as like a very fantastical secret history. So obviously The Secret History is my favorite book. I love fantasy, so having the two combined just sounds incredible. So yeah, I definitely can't wait to read this. Definitely just can see myself rating this 5 stars. The next book I have on my list is Boy Snow Bird by Helen Oyeyemi. This I've owned for so long. It's definitely been in a couple of TBR videos over the years, but I've just never picked it up, and I don't know why. Like, I've always wanted to, but it's just never ended up being a high priority for me, but I just know that I will probably rate it 5 stars. It's set in New England, and it's basically a book that is magical realism based, and it's about a family who have been living in this one area in New England and have had a secret that has like haunted them for a very long time. Apparently the writing is incredibly like lyrical and beautiful. There's lots of really great use of metaphors and symbolism, and it just looks really beautiful. It's pretty short, so I just think it's going to be the sort of book that sounds like it's like a fairy tale or a Studio Ghibli film. So yeah, this is definitely one that I want to pick up soon, just because I really need a really beautifully written tale in my life. Love the sound of this. Next, I have a book that was actually on my most recent TBR for March, so I am hoping to read it this month, but I think it's a book that will come to no surprise to anyone, and that is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. This is a book that I just know I'll rate 5 stars. Like, this isn't even a prediction. This is just a fact that I will probably be rating this 5 stars. I've definitely tried to read it before, but I don't think I've ever been in the right mindset, because it is obviously very heavy. It covers a lot of heavy and traumatic topics, so I know that I definitely need to be in a safe space, both physically and mentally and emotionally. So yeah, this is a book that I'm definitely going to take my time with. I love sad books. I love them so much. I love when a book can pull a very strong emotional response out of me. This is definitely getting 5 stars from me in the future. I can just tell. Another book that was actually on my March TBR as well, so I'm planning to read this month, is The Female of the Species by Mindy Mcginnis. Pretty sure Chloe rated this 5 stars. Also, in the comments of my video that I said that I was going to read this, so many people said that it was a 5-star read for them. So I trust the public, to be honest. I absolutely love, like I said, really emotional, really hard-hitting books. And this is a book about rape culture. Our main character's older sister has passed away. It just screams sadness and crying and really heavy, really important topics. So again, I know this is something that I will probably rate 5 stars. Can't wait to read it. Hopefully reading it very soon. Hopefully next week. I mean, who knows? The next book on my list is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I think this is definitely going to be a 5-star read for me. It's again one that I've wanted to read for ages, and what I really love is like modern classics written by female authors. Like, I don't really care so much for the classics in general, but when it comes to like more modern classics, so books written in the 80s and the 90s, and most of the time by female authors, I absolutely love the way books are written back then. I have read some Margaret Atwood before, and I found it was more like lesser known books that she's written, and I found her writing to be incredibly wacky, incredibly like fun, and her ideas to be so unique. So I just can't wait to read this, especially because it's like her most famous one, and I know that a lot of people love it, and I also just love a dystopian. So yeah, cannot wait to read this. No, I will probably be giving it 5 out of 5 stars. Next we have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is actually an ARC, so I have been waiting to get a physical like finished copy, to finally read this book, just because I've heard that the arc actually has some stuff missing and I just want to read it as a whole. But that's the only reason why I haven't picked it up yet. Like, I'm so excited to eventually read this. Ninth House is a dark academia set at Yale, and it has a lot to do with like the occult, which is something that I never knew I needed. What I find with a lot of like dark academia is I feel like a lot of people have taken inspiration from The Secret History, but then they don't really have any substance to go with it. I mean, a lot of haters will say the same about The Secret History, but leave it alone. Like, I feel like in most cases, dark academia is just about rich people at college killing people. You know what I mean? Like, I feel that way with a lot of new and modern dark academia. But the fact that this has like some really like satanic occult vibes with it, and it's kind of more like a horror, that is just something that sits so right with me. So I definitely want to read this very soon. I also think there's like a little bit of a romance in here, so kind of love that. Kind of can't wait to see how it develops. And yeah, as soon as I get a final copy of this, it is going straight onto my currently reading section in my Goodreads. Next we have Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. The fact that I haven't read this yet is just horrifying to me. I've owned it for a really long time as well. I'm pretty sure I bought it when it like first started BookTube, because I think that's when it was like coming out, and I just know it's going to be a 5-star read. I've been reading a lot of fantasy recently, and most of my 5 stars have gone to fantasy books. So the fact that this is a very popular fantasy book that a lot of people love, I'll be getting to it very soon. Like, I just know that it will be 5 stars. I feel like it's a very like fight against like a higher power, like fight against the military, fight against like an evil king, and also bringing back a lot of magic. I've heard that there's some elemental magic in here as well, and I just love when my fantasy has magic along with it. Like, it's all well and good to be like, you know, just in a fantasy land, but when people can actually like wield magic, like mages and sorcerers and stuff like that, I'm obsessed with it. Yeah, I cannot wait to read this one and get the next book in the series as well. I'm hoping to buddy read this with Caitlin actually, so I don't know when we're going to be doing that, but hopefully sometime this year, because I just know this will be like a new obsession for me. And speaking of fantasy, the final book on my list is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is like a tomb of a book. I believe it's like nearly 800 pages, and basically it's just a big old standalone fantasy. I am obsessed with adult fantasy at the moment. I find that a lot of the fantasy that I've been really loving has been for adults, so I can't wait to read this. I also know that there's some like lesbian queens in here. There's also a lot of storylines that are very interwoven, which is stuff that I absolutely love, especially when it comes to fantasy. I feel like if you're following one character in fantasy, it can get really exhausting and you kind of need a break from that character, but you never really get it. The fact that there is heaps of different characters in this and we weave in and out of their stories, I just am so excited. A lot of people have also rated this very highly, a lot of people that I trust and a lot of really big fantasy readers. I'm gonna finally get to this year. Like, I absolutely promise. Maybe a 24-hour readathon where I try and get through all of it. I don't know. But this is a 5-star read, so like, why haven't I gotten to it? But yeah, eventually guys, eventually. So those are all my 5-star predictions from my bookshelf. Let me know if you think I'm correct. Let me know if you've read these and based on what you know of my reading taste, you think that I'm right, I'm heading in the right direction. Be very interested to see if people are like, no Jamie, you're wrong, you're gonna hate that book. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's been very short, but I just wanted to bang out a video like this. I'm also maybe, yeah, I don't know, I would love to like read all these this year and then like react to the video at the end of the year. Like, I don't know, it just could be really fun. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like always, I have my socials linked down below, so my Twitter and my Goodreads, so make sure to check them out, and hopefully I will see you very soon in another video. Bye. She said, Cindy, don't cry.